So good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Antoine, and today we're going to see a lot of how to apply AI with NoCode code to your business, to what you are actually doing now. So that's why you're going to be able, my goal is to give you ideas on how you can make more money with AI and particularly save time to really optimize your business. So first thing, I want to talk about a story. I have a friend who sells copywriting for one video sales letter for $40,000. And now he do all his process with Playground on GPT, and he charged $20,000, but instead he give you 5 copy. And this is one of the top copywriters in our actual age. So if you see people like that who are at the top of the basket starting to use AI for their own business and adapt quickly on it, I think it's really interesting for us as well, and to review that actually we can produce more for a cheaper price, which is going to bring a lot more customers for this guy, for example. So something you have to know about me, I'm French, so I'm lazy. Or maybe I'm lazy, so that makes me French, I don't know. But that's why AI is really interesting for me and something that I really got interested in. First, I want to talk a little bit about the mindset, because we have to change how we think about AI. I had a lot of people who were thinking like, oh, it's not really helping me, or I don't really see the use cases. But for example, you can go from this. So this is just like you ask ChatGPT to give you 10 stocks to invest in, and it's going to say, oh, I cannot give investment advice. And you just change the prompt. You just change how you ask the question, and then you're going to have the full answer to it. And that's why it's really interesting, because for me, it helped me to save on a virtual assistant that was doing summaries of my email newsletter that was costing me around $500 to $600 a month. That's $7,000 a year saved. A copywriter that was paying $2,000, that's $24 a year saved, with also less hassle to manage those people. And that's what we're going to see today, and other use cases. And the mindset is really one thing that struck me is I have to rethink everything like if it was the first day of me in business. Because we have some processes, we have some stuff that we're used to, and we don't question it. And that's the problem, because today we have new tools that we can use that we can really help us with artificial intelligence. And if you don't know what to ask, AI can help you, because you have to learn how to ask good questions. And that's the most important thing probably that we're going to see today, is good question will give you good results. But if you just ask dumb question, you're going to have dumb answers. And then know what you want beforehand. And criticism is easy, art is difficult. That's a quote by a French guy, and I think that's really interesting, because with AI, you can actually criticize easily and get results and upgrade it. But when we're starting on the blank page, it's hard. It's hard and you don't know where to start. It's much easier for people to improve something that's already been done. So if you don't know where to start, ask GPT first, and that will help you to get a better idea of how to do it. So, for example, if I don't know how it works, my first question would be, what is the structure of a high converting SaaS landing page? And then that's going to give me a structure. Then I can ask around those questions. But if we don't know a topic, really try to ask around it. And for example, what make an Upwork job offer irresistible? And that's going to be you want to ask questions that's going to be targeted to what you're doing. And if you ask dumb question, it's going to be dumb answers. So now we're going to see the cash machine, how we can actually apply those concepts to what we have today and really use it. So for example, one of the things I used, this is an app called Mac Whisper, and this is already working actually with some OpenAI software and locally on your Mac. That's going to transcribe an audio file.
What's it called?
Mac Whisper. And what is interesting with it is that once I do this, I record a story I had today, an idea, whatever I want to send to my email list. I get the transcript, and then I use this prompt to just ask ChatGPT or Playground, any GPT you can use, to create a well-structured email, and then to keep the tone and style of the author. And with this prompt, actually, the emails I get, they are really good. And that's why I don't need my copywriter anymore, because I just can go from an audio file, which is easy, because that's going to be me talking for 5 minutes to 10 minutes max. And then boom, I have an email ready. And the cool thing about this actually, for people who are worried about privacy, is actually Mac Whisper they use your only locally, so it works only locally with the data sets that was with OpenAI. So it's not going to be made on the internet or whatever. And that's, I mean, it's a free tool, so it's cool for Mac. You can use it. And no more blank page. That's also another use cases. This one I took from a YouTuber I know. So this guy, what happened is every time he write a YouTube idea or whatever blog post idea in Notion, he have this automation that will go on ChatGPT, that will open AI GPT-3 and create a compilation that will give him 5 to 10 different titles that he can use. So after, when he's reviewing his ideas, he can see which one have a compelling title and which one are not that interesting. And that's automation you can set up today for pretty much everything, because you can use on Zapier and Make today, which are no-code automation tools that can help you do that. That's the example of, for example, me. I receive all my newsletter like this now. I have a summary in my Slack channel with the 3 to 4 main points of each newsletter. So that's saving me a lot of time to know which newsletter I want to read or not. I recommend you to do the same thing if you are subscribed to a lot of different newsletters around this topic or whatever topic. And you can write also better cold emails, because now, as we saw, we have like no-code automation. So you can have a Google spreadsheet, and then with this spreadsheet, you can have information when you're going to ask GPT to write email about their position, summarize their last video. I actually use this for outreach campaign. It worked pretty well, because I just put the transcript of YouTube in GPT, and then it gave me a summary of the 3 bullet points, and I was just talking about that. And then why not talking about the weather? Well, it's not going to be working now because it's not connected to the internet, but it's just to give you an idea that you can have a lot better opening sentences, which is important for cold email if you want to get more customers for whatever businesses you have. Another example is for customer support. Actually, I have just a new one that came in that is not on the slide, but this one is interesting. So this guy, for example, he received a new answer to his form. It's a form to like that people will reply to after they finish his free course. So you have a free online course, and then after he asks you like, what should I upgrade, what should I improve, and things like that, it goes into GPT-3 again, and then the prompt in this is like, it's basically based on all the answers that the person give, and say, thank you for your time, I heard that blah, 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 you did this, 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 and that, and then it's going to create a draft in Gmail, and then you can just review it to send it. So for him, that saved a lot of time, and that get him closer to his customer. If you're closer to your customer, you're closer to their wallet, and then you get more money. That's it. So that's an interesting use case, because we can use it for everything. And now, actually, I know a developer, you can even today export all your chat history that you had on your customer support, and then with machine learning and put it with OpenAI, you can have a chatbot that's going to be personalized on your own data sets to answer your customer request. That's amazing, because before, like, it would be always you have to train new staff for customer support. It takes time. They're not going to know all your product, when you can teach the machine what is your product about, and you match those things. Like, for example, the guy I know, like, he did like 300,000, it was 300,000 customer chat support, and he put this into machine learning, and now he's building the chat that's going to be with it. And this is cost like $4,000 to $5,000 US. So that's quite a good investment for some kind of businesses. And then to show you that it's quite easy to build your own chatbot, like this is an example from TikTok. You see, we can learn from anywhere. Isn't it amazing? So on TikTok, this guy was building one on Playground. So Playground, for those who don't know, is the same thing as ChatGPT, but it's just a bit more advanced. You have all the connection. You can tweak it as you want. As you said last week, it's like really you can tweak the engine as you want. And that's really interesting. Like this is, for example, for a pizza place. You give all the information about the pizza place. And then after you could ask any question, and it will answer, for example, hey, are you open on Mondays? And say, yeah, we are open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Do you want to place an order? And once you have those data, like the thing is today, it's not that expensive to get a developer who know how to work with OpenAI, because they have API or other different machine learning. Like this one, for example, a small chatbot like this, you can hire someone on Fiverr to do it for you. And that's what I think like is going to help a lot of businesses. And for me, how I like to start with any prompts that I'm going to have is to start with a mind map. Yeah, I have amazing handwriting, isn't it? Thank you. So I start with a mind map because if I don't know what I want to ask to GPT, it's just not going to give me the answer I want. And that's why we have to first think on paper, what do we want to ask? I like to refer it as like if I was going on a lunch with someone who is like way above me in a certain type of skills that I want to acquire. If I go and ask a dumb question, simple like, hey, how do I make money online? It's going to be, what the fuck, man, you make me lose my time. But if you ask a specific question, then you're going to have a specific answer. And then you have to come with a problem that you define well. And then it depends for everyone, but for me, it's easy to do for a mind map. So here, we're going to take the example that we saw at the beginning to build an investment portfolio. And that's just a use case that is interesting because ChatGPT will normally say, okay, you can't use ChatGPT for investment advice. But here, he ended up giving you a full portfolio for investment purposes. So here in my portfolio, for example, I want to know from who I want to ask for because I'm going to ask GPT to act as someone. I don't know how to respond. Fuck you, Siri. And so for this example, I asked about like to have like I want investment advice from a banker, from an investment banker that saw already different times in the market, so rise and fall, and a season. The context, because ChatGPT is not connected to the web and any GPT is not connected to internet now. So it's going to be better if you give context about what is happening now, because it can like then replicate what are the events. And the outcome you desire. So then I want to have the sectors, I want the values and the percentage for each values. Usually for the outcome, it's better to go step by step, because if you go from step 3 directly, maybe it's going to be too hard for it, and it's just going to say, oh, actually, I can't give investment advice again. And so for the investment portfolio, this is how it worked, actually. So in the case of a worldwide portfolio, the allocation would be slightly different to account from the global economic landscape and the diversity of market conditions. So you see, like how is it sentenced it is because it used back all the things that I gave in my prompt. Because my prompt was well structured, or better structured, I would say, and then it gives all the portfolio with the percentage of each investment. So of course, you would not copy stupidly this portfolio and use it. But to do this prompt took me probably 10, 15 minutes to get the result I wanted. And that's probably saved me 3 to 5 hours of research. And then after, of course, I need to do some research on top of that for something that's going to be my money invested in. I'm not going to just follow this case like this. Someone asked you the use case of a travel agent. So we're going to see this one. That's actually quite interesting because there's a lot of data that actually GPT is not that good about it. So like, what are my criteria? Because you want to replicate the conversation you will have with a travel agent. They will ask you like, okay, like, how do you like to travel? How long are you going to stay? What is your schedule like? What do you like to do? You want to replicate those things. You want to really give a lot of information. So for me, like my criteria was like, okay, where to stay, what to do, and where to eat. That's what I want. And then of course, I give a lot of information about like who I am and what I do. Well, I mean, a lot. This is for an example, but I say, okay, I want to go to Taipei. In which area should I live? I want to be able to have a co-working space less than 15-minute walk away. Same as healthy food places and the gym. My budget is 1,200 per month. So I lived in Taipei, so I had quite an idea of like what are the areas that we're recommending. And honestly, it was not that bad. It was not that bad. And the good thing about traveling is like when you type anything about travel on Google, you will see always affiliate website at the beginning that like from TripAdvisor, Hotel.com, Booking.com. And the information in it is like really boring, not that accurate, and not really personalized.
It's written by some digital nomad for 10 cents a word.
Yeah, I mean, those guys probably have to think about, again, AI now, but yeah. So yeah, I guess that's how it happened, but it's really bland. And then, so I changed a little bit, like, okay, now for each area, I want to know like 2 co-working spaces, gym, and where I can do monthly package, and 3 to 5 healthy restaurant. And we can see actually for healthy restaurant is like pretty bad, because Fresh Kitchen, Green Kitchen, Salad Factory, this is an all made up name by GPT. Like those restaurants don't exist. So for all those one, like the thing was not interesting. And actually what I gave also, like the information I gave to GPT was like, I'm going to stay there for 6 weeks. I'm available, like I'm only available on the weekend. I want to have like some night out, some hiking, some outdoors. And he gave me a full list that was actually really interesting. So it's not that it doesn't know what is on Google Map. I would say like it doesn't have like what is like, I would say moderate or active updating. And restaurants are like that. Restaurants come and goes, particularly with the time we had recently. So until it's not connected to the internet, honestly, for restaurant recommendation, it's going to be shit. But if you want a travel plan with all the cultural places, all the hiking, all the things like that, that's going to give you really a compelling plan. And the good thing is give you a schedule. So for me, like he gave me the full schedule. We can go back on it, probably have it in my history later if you want. That will be something. And then, so I updated my prompt because I realized when I was doing this that actually my question was too broad, because those areas were quite big, so I wouldn't know when I go on Airbnb or whatever to rent an apartment, where should I live? So then I asked, okay, like which metro station? And that's the important point. Like that's the thing that makes the whole difference, because that's going to tell you exactly where to live, and then after you can use it for the map. And then for the gym, I also put that I wanted to do weightlifting, because before that, it was giving me, so this one is a gym, but this one is yoga, and that's not what I wanted. So Anytime Fitness, I didn't check if this one was actually a right one, but this one was for sure. So actually it depends, like some results are gonna be good for Google Map, but not everything. That's why like you have to know that we are building this with the tool that we have now. And I think a good analogy will be like what we realized with GPT that arrived is kind of like when the iPhone got like 3G and the app stores. So like that's where we started to build. But then let's say like probably GPT-4, that's going to be like having the iPhone 4, when we can really see a step forward, when we can develop games, we can have all those kind of apps, and then after there's going to be the road that like really we have use cases that we can use day to day with a good connection to the internet.
Does it make difference if you put please in the end of your prompt? Because in the last prompt you had please.
Yeah, it depends. I'm not always polite.
Examples, please.
It depends if like there's a meme that say like if AI take over the world, they will remember if you were polite or not. So I don't know. Sometimes I say, sometimes I don't. And yes, so for example, yeah, some stuff were good. Like you see, the co-working was working. So for this use case, I would say like you don't know exactly. And that's the use case where I ask a schedule of what I would do. So I'm going there for 6 weeks. I will be primarily working, but I can go out twice a week at night, and I will have 2 days off to a week to explore, and then it gives me the full schedule. And I can attest that this schedule is actually pretty accurate, and you could use it. So that saves a lot of time on research, so you can focus on your business. And I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so what I was saying is better for less dynamic data, so restaurants and things like that, and in general. And if you want to get better at GPT and AI in general, is you have to learn how to outsource. A lot of people never hired a person in their life, or they don't know how to outsource a project, and then they're not going to be able to use AI properly because they don't know how to ask something. I mean, it's the same thing as, to be honest, like ChatGPT is not like that clever, I would say. And any artificial intelligence is just going to depend on how much you outsource. And it's the same as if you hire a low-paid employee or like someone who needs a lot of guidance, use the same thing, think the same way with AI, and that's going to give you a lot better results. So like for your business and what you have, build checklists, build things you want around this, like if you were going to outsource it, and then after you can use it as prompt. And then learn to ask better questions. That's going to be super useful for your daily life and also for how you use AI. Think first, always sit down before, think about what you want to ask, don't rush in the conversation. It's the same here, like use it as a tool. Learn how to use Playground. I think like most of us here, like for example, use ChatGPT, are familiar with it. And Playground can let you build advanced stuff. For example, if you want a long copy, a long sales page, or anything, because any no-code tool that you're going to build with Zapier or anything like that, you're going to be able to use it with Playground. The API of GPT 3.5 is not yet available publicly, but GPT 3 is publicly available, and then it's pretty cheap. Like for example, the emails, I summarize it. Like the one that give me the summary is cost me like around 2 cents per email. So that still represents a cost in a way, but that's a lot cheaper than when I had an assistant that was taking the text and summarizing it, or even taking the text and then putting it in ChatGPT. Like it saves a lot of steps, and plus it's not always working, but Playground, if you pay for the API, it's always working. And stop testing your ego against GPT. A lot of people want to prove that GPT is wrong, that they don't know shit. That's not the goal. This is a tool to help you. You can use wherever you want. It's not going to replace everything. Just use it like that. And I wanted to present you 2 cool tools that you can use. Yeah?
Sorry, a question about what kind of things you're outsourcing in the context of ChatGPT?
So what stuff that I have that I outsource to GPT for me in my business?
Are you saying outsource to ChatGPT or outsource to other people in order to do stuff with ChatGPT?
Well, you can do both actually. Like it depends how your structure is in your business. But for example, for me, like before I had a copywriter that would take my audio and transform them into an email. Today I don't need that copywriter because I can use the GPT and then keep the same tone, and then actually some copywriters who are reading my email list, they were like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I was like, yeah, I'm using GPT to write it. So that would be an example. We can actually talk more about that, I think, in the Q&A. I just have the 2 slides that's interesting. This is a tool called Simplify, and that's a Mac app that lets you have basically your own prompt saved. So it's going to be connected with the API of OpenAI. This is a free tool, yeah. This is a free tool, and then that's going to be, the interesting thing about this is, how I see it personally, is that every company, every kind of job will have kind of their own dashboard where they have their own prompts, and like this they can reuse it again and again. For example, the one I say with Mac Whisper, that's going to be probably easier if I have this, and then it's going to create my own output here. And another one, so this one I'm working with a friend on. This is a shortcut. It's called Simplify. And another one is Shortcut AI. So this one I built with a friend, and this AI typist that you can bring everywhere on your Mac. Particularly, it works really well with Apple Notes. The good thing about using it on Apple Notes is that you save the history, and you have it, like you have your notes on your phone, it's synchronized, and you can always come back to it, and you don't have to connect to the browser every time. You don't want to have to switch tab all the time. And then if, for example, if you wanted to use it in Slack or anything, it's really convenient. You just need to add +++ at any end of the sentence or prompts that you give, and then it's going to give you the results. So what we are working on for the next step around this is to have pre-generated prompts and use your own style. So this is going to be the most important thing, I think, in the coming years, is that AI will be talking as if it was you talking. And that's where I think there's the next step. Like actually, there's also 11 Labs that is an interesting tool that can replicate your voice. It's not there yet, but it's really, really amazing how much they can do, that it looks so close to your voice when you give them some sample of data. Well, thank you everyone for your attention. I guess we're going to take some questions now and discuss, debate, whatever around this. If you have a use case for your business that you would like to improve, please share it. We can work on it together in this room to see how we can.
About like this thing that summarizes videos, can you tell us more about it? Did you build it, or is it like a service that you use?
The summary of newsletters?
Summary of videos.
So the summary of videos, that's something I wanted to work on.
Or you haven't built it yet? Because that's something that I want to build actually.
Okay, so I know how to build it, but I'm not I'm not a coder. But then so I saw a few extensions that did something similar. The thing is, when you use it, they copy the transcript, then they put it in GPT, but that's not really what I
The
want.
thing is, if it's like an hour-long video, it's pretty long transcript, so you want to kind of split it into sections and then summarize each section, because you can't summarize the whole thing, right?
Yeah, so that's why like you kind of have to be a smarter way. Yeah, that's something that's definitely going to be useful. Thing is, with those apps, honestly, like I would say, like it's better to ship it and see what's happening, because you don't know what's going to stick, and the market is moving really fast. A lot of people are releasing a lot of apps. So yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. It's a good idea, like a summary of YouTube videos. Why not? Yeah.
Just to add to that, with the splitting thing, I was looking into LangChain this week, and it has some pretty mature solutions to how to split things.
Which one?
LangChain.
LangChain. Oh yeah. So probably using this as well will help a lot.
So it's like it's a non-AI thing that split it and then you fit each piece to there.
How much information can you put in the prompt? Let's, for example, I have a 1,000-word blog post. Can I put in that? Together with my brand style guide, please give me 5 headers based on this copy, which matches my style guide, which is this.
So if you use the normal Chat GPT, probably you're going to be 1,000 blog posts should be okay, but like the length of the prompt's going to depend. But if you use Playground, there's probably not really a limit.
I think there should still be a limit of tokens, right? Because you have the model at, I think it's like 4,000 tokens, so like about 3,000 words.
Yeah, but it can still use many requests to do the different parts of it.
But it's good to automatically split it. If you did it in the playground, it's going to split it.
Yeah, you're probably going to need that, because some people use it to write a book, so you can definitely do it, not in one go yet. And then, there's going to be, but for blog posts it would work. Sorry?
Can you save it? So let's say today you're working on your book, and then you start looking up travel stuff for type A, and then you want to go back to your book, and obviously you want the AI to forget about the type A questions. Like, can you have multiple scenarios, or like multiple scenes that are saved, and then you go back to it if you need to?
There is a chat history on ChatGPT. It's not that good, honestly. But if you use Shortcut AI, it's saved in your notes. So
So what you speak about is almost like profiles. So I'm one profile when I go to type A, I'm more of an urban person, but when I go to France, I want to bake bread and I want to stay on the countryside.
that's a good choice.
Yeah.
It's a good travel destination.
I think what he's actually talking about is sessions. In other words, you have a REST or WebSocket session to the ChatGPT AI, and if you're asking about travel stuff, then it's going to assume the follow-on questions are about travel stuff. Whereas if you're writing a book about making French bread, you don't necessarily want it assuming that your French bread question is somehow involved in typing. So it's a separate session.
Yeah, this if you click new chat on ChatGPT, that does that. Or if you use if you use Playground again, like that's going to be different use cases for sure. Like it's not going to keep your history of forever.
I feel like Playground doesn't have a history. You just like you have your input window and then it will complete it. There is like no history.
I think I'm going to connect to it to show that's going to be easier, and because from what I remember, you can still save some prompts and things like that, so you probably can build some use cases.
But it's not like automatically like if ChatGPT have like a continuous chat that kind of
that's the goal. That's why.
My text, write the condition for it. That's all.
That's not the case. Once you've replied, you can add additional.
Yes. Then you can add more text than you write, but it's going to read all that you wrote and it wrote, and it's going to complete it.
But let's say there are like 5 things that you typically do to get where you want to get the AI where you want it to be before you ask the actual question. Let's say there's like a series of questions you need to go through to train it, and you have to do that each time. So back to my original question, basically, is there a way to save that so I don't have to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, to save the prompt.
Are you talking about ChatGPT or Playground?
I guess so far mostly ChatGPT.
Yeah, it kind of does it by default. You just have like on the left, you have like your chats. It's like chat history, but you can continue each of them. Like it's.
Okay, that's true. But there's no feature yet.
Like you want to have a step-by-step, basically have an agent or whatever, someone that's going to go one prompt by one prompt about like something that you want, right?
Yeah, like kind of a scenario, like let's say I use it for business, then I use a different pre-pattern
Yeah. For example, like.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.